Hey everyone, thanks for your support in 2024. We have a lot of cool stuff coming in 2025, and here are some of the things you can look forward to as we move into next year. In the lead up to The Mandalorian and Grogu in 2026, we'll be starting a full series rewatch of both The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett on exploring hyperspace lanes beginning in October. You can also expect a rewatch of Andor, and we will have reviews of every episode of Andor and the rest of the Skeleton Crew as those come out. Josie will be returning as we continue to rank every Star Wars thing released ever. Reviews of every episode of every Marvel Disney Plus show, including Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, The Eyes of Wakanda, Wonder Man, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, and Marvel Zombies, the day after each episode releases, will be available on Beware of Spoilers. We'll be having special event podcasts on 30-minute reviews for the Academy Awards, our 2024 year in review in early January, ranking all of Phase 5 of the MCU after Fantastic Four First Steps comes out, and our 10th anniversary special. Once we complete our rankings of all the Pokemon games on the backlog files, we'll be moving on to Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. Over on the YouTube channel, you can join in for playthroughs of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Pokemon White, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, Sonic Adventure 2, LEGO Racers 2, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Want to keep on top of all the new things we have coming? Subscribe at mwpnews.com, subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/@mwpnews, or subscribe to Beware of Spoilers, 30-minute reviews, exploring hyperspace lanes, and the backlog files on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, thank you for your support. Good morning and welcome to the Backlog Files. I am Adam. It is April 3rd, 2025. Yesterday, we had the Switch 2 announce trailer, or the announce direct. So let's get into that a little bit, because that's what we're here to talk about today. Realistically, is this trailer, or this hour-long presentation, kind of laying out the Switch 2. I think the issue that I have with this, I like the launch lineup. I like the amount of games that are going to be available launch day. I'm not overly thrilled about how many of them are games that are already out. But, I like that they are going to have these upgrades. I will be more on board with them when I find out how much they are. Because I think the upgrade pack is a good idea for the next-gen upgrade. I think we saw this kind of start with the PS4 to the PS5 and the Xbox to the Series X. Where it's like you pay, instead of paying for the full game again, with the next-gen upgrade, you pay $10, $20, and you get the upgraded edition for the next-gen console. So I do appreciate them doing that. I don't know, it's going to depend on the cost, though. I do know that because I looked it up after I watched the presentation last night, because what happened for me was, I was going to do this yesterday. I was going to watch the presentation while I was at work on my phone, which I do have with me, and while I was sitting there, take notes, and then after work I would record an episode, and then we would have it up last night. Unfortunately, like a moron, I left my phone at home yesterday, so I didn't get to watch it until late in the night. So I watched it last night, and now we're recording it today. The thing with this is, I think the upgrades are interesting. I think that there's one telling thing about one of the upgrades where it's you look at the Metroid Prime 4, which is one of this year's big Switch releases, which is getting an upgrade when it comes out on the Switch 2. If you buy the Switch 2 edition, you can get the upgrade that'll let you play, with upgraded graphics, 4K, and it's they're very specific about the resolution increase. It's you can play the game in the Switch 2 edition with, with 4K in 60 or 1080 at 120, whichever you want to do. Okay, fine. And you can use mouse controls, which is the big thing that they're pushing with this, is the mouse controls for the Joy-Con 2. The issue I have with this is Pokemon Legends ZA, it's very generic, the difference between the Switch and the Switch 2 edition. Legends ZA is just graphic improvement, increased frame rate, and increased resolution. I don't know what the base resolution is going to be, or what the increased resolution is going to be. Or is it just an increase to? Is it gonna run like based on past Pokemon games? The question I have is this just going to run at a steady 30 at 1080 in the Switch 2 edition? Is that what this is? Because if that's the case, then that's a problem. The lack of specifics is the thing that I'm not overly thrilled about, and I don't know to what degree Nintendo is going to have a direct, no pun intended, a direct, look and all of that with what is in these upgrades and all of that. So, I think this could be the thing that possibly sinks it. This could be the thing that possibly ends the experiment pretty quickly. Because it's like, if they're at a point now where they haven't, if that game comes out and it's not good, then what's gonna happen? Like, if that game comes out, and it's not good, then what are they gonna do? Like, how is that gonna work? I think that's kind of a fundamental issue that is going to be the problem. If that doesn't look better, other games that they want to do this augment for is not going to sell as well. Now, granted, I think a lot of these are going to come out relatively early, and I don't know if it's just going to be relegated to just the 5 titles they really show, which is Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, ZA. It's 6 titles. ZA, the other one is Metroid Prime 4, and then Jamboree and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Like, I don't know if it's going to be relegated to those titles, then maybe it's not as big of an issue, but who cares? $450 for a price tag is, I don't bump into as much as a price. I think $450 for the console, I mean, how much was the Switch? The Switch was $3. I mean, this is a sizable increase. But I think one of the things is that it's like, when you look at the titles that are available, I didn't see anywhere in the trailer, I looked carefully for this, that indicated that online was required to play Elden Ring, to play Hogwarts Legacy, to play some of these bigger, more recent titles, which would indicate to me that this is a game that's going to run natively at, It's going to run natively at, those games are going to run natively on the console. That's what I think is going to happen. If that's the case, then we're looking at a console that's comparable to the Steam Deck. $450, I kind of understand that price. What I don't get is the price tag being so high for the price tag being so high for Mario Kart World. Which, look, it looks amazing. And this looks like a fantastic game. It looks like something that I'm going to get and I'm going to play and play and play and play. And I get why, like, I see that the game looks good. I don't think the industry is ready for a first-party $80 title. I don't, like, we're still getting used to the $69.99, which has become kind of the standard, and we saw that first with, for Nintendo, it was Legend of Zelda. I think the Pokemon games are up there now. Their big first-party titles are coming in at that price. I don't know if we can really get comfortable with this, because I know I'm certainly, like, it's the thing where it's like, if I can get together the money to get a bundle, I'll get the bundle. If I can get the $500, it's gonna be $550 with tax. If I can get the $550 in, then I would. I'm good with. I will get the bundle, because if it's $500, if it's $450 or $500 and you get Mario Kart, okay, you're saving $30 and you're getting Mario Kart, and then Mario Kart's $50, which is more feasible. But I don't know that I'm going to rush out to get this console other than that. This should go one of two ways, I see it, where the console comes out and it sells well in spite of the price, and Mario Kart sells well in spite of the price, and that's just where we are now, and that's just how we're going to have to deal with this. Or we end up in a 3DS situation, which for those of you who may be young and listening, or those of you who don't remember this, the 3DS launched at $250, and I bought it on launch day for $250. I bought it. I got Pilot Wings, which is why I like Mario Kart so much. Mario Kart reminded me of Pilot Wings, where you get this big area, you get to explore, fly around, and do all that shit. I think that it's, that game came out, and it was $250. Then it didn't sell well at the $250, because why am I going to pay $250 for a DS? So they knocked the price down. They knocked the price down to $180, I think, or $160, and then it started selling like gangbusters. The issue was the early adopters ended up in what was called the Ambassador Program, which gave you 10 free Game Boy games and 10 free Game Boy Advance games that you could play on your 3DS. So we could be in that situation too, where it's they release it at $450 and it doesn't work. I don't think that $450 is, outland. Again, like I said, if it's running Elden Ring on the console, I don't think $450 is an outlandish price, because then you're just looking at a Steam Deck. I don't think I don't think that we're looking at anything too ridiculous in that arena. If you look at the price of other handheld consoles that can run comparably, I don't think that this is too outlandish. And using the third-party titles that were announced as a benchmark again, Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Street Fighter 6. That's what it is. Now, the one thing I do have a slight issue with is I don't think there's a ton of first-party titles in the beginning that are really going to showcase how powerful this thing is. Because Legend of Zelda, I don't think is going to showcase how, an upgraded version of Legend of Zelda with better graphics, I don't think is going to showcase the power of the Switch. I'm going to be honest, the Switch 2, I don't think it's going to. The same goes for Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, the same goes for Mario Party Jamboree, and I think that two of your marquee titles in the launch window, in the first launch year, being games that are also coming out on Switch and have a better version on the Switch 2, I don't know that that's something that's going to be good. I think that that's something that's, it could hold it back. And then when you get to the end of, or in July, we have the last title. So let's just paint out the roadmap for, for Nintendo for this year in their first party, and we'll call it second party titles. I think technically Pokemon's not a first party title. I think it's technically second party. But you have on release day, you have Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World is coming out release day. That's going to be, day one, you can get that. You'll probably get it with your bundle. July, so a month later, you have this Donkey Kong game, this 3D platformer. Now, the price for the Donkey Kong game is $70. It's $69.99. And looking at it, I don't know that this game is going to be any bigger than Princess Peach Showtime. There's nothing about this trailer that really indicates to me that this game is going to be any bigger than Princess Peach Showtime. I don't know that that's something that they're going to expand upon or anything like that. I think that, that's my concern, especially if you're charging $10 less and you're doing this innovative thing with the gameplay, where you can destroy literally anything you want. This is going to feel more like a tech demo. Also on launch day, you have the tech demo game, which is a paid digital title, and I'm not thrilled about that. That was with the Switch, with 1-2 Switch and Snipper Clips, both of which were kind of, showing off what you could do with the Switch. But in an era, I don't like that these tech demo games are being charged for. I almost forgot about that one. Then there is, what was the other big one? So moving down the line, Metroid Prime 4. Beyond is going to come out at some point in the summer, or maybe even the fall. You have end of the year, you have Legends ZA. End of the year, you have The Reign is Starting. That's not a game, that's just this. What's happening in real life. End of the day, you have, end of the year, you have Hyrule Warriors, War of Imprisonment or Age of Imprisonment, which, okay, that could be cool. I never played Hyrule Warriors, and maybe I'll check that one out if I have a Switch 2 at that time. And then end of the year, you have Kirby Air Riders. Now, let's take a step back here for a second. You're ending off the year with another kart racer when the launch title is a kart racer. I don't think that's a smart move. I don't. I think that you should have done a separation between Air Riders and that. And I also think Mario Kart World, I get that Mario Kart World is ambitious, and I get that they're doing something kind of cool with this. In terms of character selection, if we need so many characters that we are scraping the bottom of the barrel with the cow from Moo Moo Farm or whatever the hell it is, maybe we start bringing in characters from other franchises. Maybe we don't just sit here and just do that. Maybe we do Smash Kart. And do that. Maybe just consolidate these two into one game. I realize that for an open world game that would be difficult and that may not track very well, but it's probably the smarter move. And I don't think that, like, in a world where your marquee game for this console, in the way that like Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing were marquee games for the Switch, and they were like, these are the system seller games. And I don't think Animal Crossing was designed that way. It just kind of happened that it came out during the pandemic, in the early days of the pandemic, and everyone needed something to do. I think that's kind of the issue here. Like, I think that, I don't think having in the first year 2 racing games is a smart idea, especially when one of them has been on ice for 20 years. And I don't think Kirby Air Ride is necessarily a game that a lot of people have a ton of fond memories of. I would have done, if we're going to resurrect an old franchise, I would have done, what's it called? A GameCube era game. I can't think of off the top of my head. I would have done like baseball maybe. And then there's the Nintendo Switch Online stuff. I think it's cool they have the video chat. It looks very laggy. The Zoom style screen sharing looks very laggy. It's a cool idea, but I don't know how well it's going to work. I would assume that when they were doing these videos for it, they were doing it somewhere with high quality internet, and I don't think that that's everyone. So if they're having an issue with it in the trailer and it's jittery, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a great thing going forward. And for this to be something that they are really pushing for Mario Party Jamboree, which admittedly is a great idea, I think you want to make sure that this technology is a little bit more there. I'm not overly confident in Nintendo servers. We will see how they can handle this. And I'm not 100% certain that they, they will handle this properly. What else have we got? The voice chat's cool, though. I do like that they have a built-in voice chat instead of having to use an app on your phone, which is a vast improvement. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say the launch window is disappointing. And maybe it is. If you're going to do a racing game, why not see if you can do Diddy Kong Racing remastered? I mean, that's something that would have been a lot better, I think. Maybe it is just me. Maybe it is my personal taste and what I like looking at this game. But and also, isn't there a new Sega, Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing game coming out? Aren't they doing another one of those? Did I have a fever dream and that happened? I could have swore there was another Sega All-Star Racing game coming out. Sega Racing Transformed or some shit like that. If that's coming out this year, we have 3 mascot kart racers, and that's kind of a rarity in this era. And the fact that one studio is putting out 2 in a 6-month period is questionable, I think. you would, like, I think the issue with this is, and I get it. If you're going to charge $70 or $80 for every game, you can't overload with titles, otherwise people won't buy them. I think what you had to do is you needed to come out kind of swinging with this console in a way to be like, here's why you need to buy. Oh, and there was that 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball game that I forgot about, which is entirely mouse controls. And I'm like, okay, that looks like ARMS to me, where it's like, I have no interest in playing ARMS. I see what you're doing. You're trying to show off that. But again, not really interested in that. I don't know. There's a lot. It looks like Rocket League, but, you know, with wheelchair basketball instead of soccer. I don't know. There's a lot of things I liked about the trailer. I really like Mario Kart World. And I think that Mario Kart World, being as cool as it is, kind of saved this direct for me. But the fact that the benchmarks that we have for how well this console runs are not Nintendo games, and seeing how these Nintendo games are going to be bigger and better than past ones. The fact that it is, the console can run Elden Ring, which was a PS4 game. Okay, so it's comparable to that. Like, the fact that that's kind of where we are, I think is the biggest disappointment. Like, I think what needed to happen here was they needed to come out and show us, like, oh, here's what we can do. Because I don't think there was anything Mario Kart World is the only one that showed something that I don't think the Switch could do. I don't think the Switch could handle 24 racers in an open world, in these sprint-style tracks where you have to race between the tracks. I don't think Mario Kart World could have handled that. Could have been handled on the Switch. But the fact that some of the launch titles are just upgraded versions of Switch games, it's like, okay, but with graphical improvements, so this could have been done on the Switch. So, it was done on the Switch. And then 2 hybrid titles, and then you get to the end of the year, and it's like, we didn't see anything from Kirby Air Ride. We don't know what that's going to look like. I would assume that Hyrule Warriors, I haven't played Hyrule Warriors 1, but if Hyrule Warriors 2 is just more monsters on the screen at once, okay, the Switch couldn't handle that probably without getting jittery or blanking out. Okay, fine, I get that. And Kirby Air Ride, we have no information about that game besides the fact that it's coming at the end of the year. So I think what should have probably happened was this should have been a showcase that showcases the power of it with Nintendo's first parties. It's like, okay, you can run Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Congratulations. What games are you making that are taking full advantage of this hardware? Because at the end of the day, if you can show me this thing can run games that run on the Steam Deck, why am I buying this and not a Steam Deck? What Nintendo games are going to be running bigger and better in this thing? Even if it is just showing us tech demos and things that, like, these are things that we made specifically to show off the power of the Switch. Even if it is just that, I'd be like, okay, that's better. But, like, oh, and at launch you're going to have GameCube games and 3 GameCube games on Nintendo Switch Online. And it's like, oh, cool, okay, so F-Zero GX is going to be there, Wind Waker is going to be there, and Soul Calibur 2 is going to be there. Okay, great. And then eventually we're going to get, like, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD, and we're going to get these other titles like Strikers and Sunshine and Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Luigi's Mansion. But again, what are the games that are augmented on this? Not augmented. What are the new games that are going to drive me to buy this console? And they didn't give me a concrete answer to that. There's no concrete answer to besides Mario Kart. And for a console that you're charging a lot of money for, I don't know if this DK game is a system seller in the same, again, using Princess Peach Showtime as the example. Princess Peach Showtime was not a system seller. So I don't think that's a system seller. I don't know that Kirby Air Ride is a system seller, unless that game is out of this world. But again, if that's not being bundled, so that's something that if someone didn't buy it for Mario Kart and they're going to buy it for that, they got to drop $530 plus tax. Like, that's a lot of money to expect someone to drop on a game that we haven't had an entry of and they said it in the direct, 20 years. It's a lot of money. And I think and by the time that game comes out, we will be late in the year, and who knows what state the economy is going to be in. The stock market opens, I think, in like 10 minutes from when I'm recording this, and it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. I don't know. I think there's a lot, I think, of uncertainty with this, and I really like how Mario Kart World looks. I really do, and I'm really interested in eventually playing Mario Kart World. I'm really interested, and I really want to play it. If I could play that now, I would. I don't know if I can justify dropping $550 on a new console, plus a game, plus tax. Like, that's going to be fundamentally the issue. But we'll see. Maybe I'll win the lottery. Who knows? We'll wrap up there for today. Next week we'll be back. We'll be talking about a new video game. I haven't decided which one yet, but we'll talk about it next week. Until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.